Okay.
Good morning. It's always cool. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. My name is Patrick Webb, and I'm a worship associate for today. Today we are welcoming Sherry Hardage as our guest speaker. So look forward to hearing her words this morning on this beautiful, sunny, and early a little bit rainy morning. So, as Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people as we gather together in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. I extend any visitors and first-time guests a special welcome this morning, And I invite you to speak with any of us after the service and join us for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall, and to please sign our guest book. If you're watching online, please consider signing our virtual guest book on our website. Parents are all invited to speak to our, oh gosh, this is a transition period, so I was going to say speak with Reverend Tina DeYoe, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, which is her last Sunday today, so if you have children here today, please speak with Tina, but also speak with Terra Hite, our new Director of Lifespan Religious Education, who will be taking over. Many changes today in this month. So, let's take a moment, find ourselves, breathe, and begin our time.
He's a little taller than I am. Into this home we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts and a will toward justice. Into this home we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home we bring our joy and gratitude for ordinary blessings. By our gathering we bless this place. In its shelter we know ourselves blessed. Let us open our minds and hearts to one another as we gather for worship on this beautiful morning.
Please rise in body and spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 349, We Gather Together. Oh my goodness. Is it there? Oh no. Oh no. Please remain standing and join in our affirmation, which we may have to recite from memory. Let's see if we can do it. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to live life in freedom, to live life in fellowship, together all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. Thank you. Please be seated. Oh, well done. Well done. That one's on me because I made the slides. Candles have been lit this morning for the rains that are early but welcome. Thanks to Tina DeYoe for being our DLRE for the past 10 years, and to Terra Hite for being our incoming DRLE. Look forward to all of these changes. Prayers this morning for health concerns for Terra and Reeves, and for all our joys and all our sorrows, spoken aloud or held within our hearts.
if you will, just listen to the poem and close your eyes and imagine that you're on a beach. A beach. What? You can't hear me?
It's on.
Oh, yeah, it's on, right? Okay, all right. I'm just not shoving it in my mouth. Okay. Just imagine you're on a nice tropical beach and just follow along with this concept. I sit in the sand up to my waist in warm tropical water, feet buried to steady myself in the waves. The world's largest body of water fills the horizon for thousands of uninterrupted miles, immense, godlike. This bag of water I own, the one that holds my life, that supports my thoughts and fuels my feelings, is connected molecule by molecule with the water of the world. Only a thin barrier of skin keeps me from melting into it. My physical form in the sand, attached to every bit of land, is in touch with all other beings whose skin touches the ground. And the warm breeze wafting across my chest, flowing in and out with measured breaths, is the eternal air, used and changed, used again by every organic thing that's ever been, all connected in this moment by my open, fully present mind, as expansive now as the whole world.
And if all the young and young at heart want to come up for our time for all ages, come to our young worshipers space. Hey, guys. Hey. Good morning, good morning. I know, I've been, me and Terra have gotten to hang out with you guys like all week at Dr. Seuss Camp. It's been pretty fun. But this morning, our guest speaker, Sherry, she's going to talk to us about the word transformation. Does anyone know what that means? Yeah, you did it with the plants, right? Yeah, so plants transform. Hey guys, let's keep our stuffies to ourselves. All right. Yeah. So plants transform, right? Do you think we transform too? Yeah. We transform, we grow up, we get older, all the things. Do you think our church community transforms over the years? Yeah. Like we're gonna have new leadership coming in, right? And you know what else has transformed, which is pretty cool, and I think it's pretty cool because I'm a governance geek like this. Our UU values have transformed. They haven't changed entirely, but they're transforming into new ways, right? So our UU values are transforming, right? So in our national denomination of our church, we just adopted the new bylaw changes to these value statements. And so do you guys remember making a covenant in camp this week? Yeah. So if you made covenants before, this is our UU covenant across the nation, okay? So all of our UU churches are going to be covenanting in the same way, right? We're going to be making promises to each other of how we want to be in community, right? So I'm going to read some of those values that we're covenanting about, and one of those values is transformation, right? So we have our shared values, and love is the power that holds us all together. Can we put up that image on the next slide? If you see that image, love is at the middle, right? And that's our chalice. And then our other promises that we're making to each other are to love one another, right? We're going to do that in just a second. You got it. Leo's got it. Terra's going to show all of us this new little cool hand trick to remember our UU values. So we have love at the center. We have justice. We have interdependence. And we'll go into some of what this means throughout the year. We have equity. We have generosity. We have pluralism, and we have transformation, what we're talking about today. So we're going to talk about that one. So Terra, would you like to stand up so everyone can see you? And kids, if you know it too, you can do it.
Yeah. We did a little bit of this at camp. So to remember these values, they're not in any order, but it helps to remember them with these numbers. So if we start with transformation, and you imagine a seed sprouting, and you make the number 1. And then, if you turn your hands, you can make an equal sign for equity. And then 3 fingers together, pluralism. And then justice, 4 fingers. Generosity. And then, I need 2 hands, actually. Okay. And then you're going to need, for love, you can draw a heart in your hand with the 6th finger. And for the interdependent web of existence, if you take these 2 fingers and it's you on your knees, leaning in your finger, witnessing the interweb in your hand, right? The web of everything. Yeah. So there you go. So we could do it one more time. Okay, transformation, equity, pluralism, justice, generosity, love, and interdependence. Thank you.
Cool. Yay. So now you can remember all those awesome little words with our value words with the actions. And thank you for coming up. And now we're going to have our Dr. Seuss Camp Choir come on up, and will you hand out these little things to them? And make sure you get a booklet. Yeah, if you need them. So I also want to say that I printed out a few copies of those bylaw changes. They're on that table outside of the sanctuary. So if you want to read them in full, they're right back there. So this week, we had our awesome Dr. Seuss camp all week long, and it was a lot of fun. Did you guys have a lot of fun? I had a lot of fun. Yes. We tried new foods. We had a carnival day. We went to the park. We did so many fun things. And we had a phrase for each day of the camp that we focused on from a Dr. Seuss book theme, right? So the first day we read Cat in the Hat, and our phrase was, stand up, speak out.
Stand up, speak out.
Yes. So each phrase we had a little action to go with. And every time we said the phrase, they would have to stop what they're doing and do the action, right? And say it. So, care for our world was number 2. That was the Lorax day. Then we had our third day, everyone's important.
Everyone's important.
And then that was, what did, Horton Hears a Who, that was that day. And then we had Green Eggs and Ham Day, I will try.
I will try.
Yep, and then our last day, the things you can think and the places you'll go. Keep learning, keep exploring.
Keep learning, keep exploring.
So they're pretty good at these phrases. Give them a round of applause, yeah. Woo! And now they're going to sing Miss Susan over here. Susan Gisler has been leading our awesome songs all week, and so we're going to sing a couple of those songs for you.
The next song that we're singing is a Rafi song, and again, some of you may know it, so you can sing along on the choruses if you'd like. It's All I Really Need, and it's by Rafi, and it's All I Really Need is a song in my heart, which is how we all feel a lot of times. So you ready? All I really need is a song in my heart, food in my belly, and love in my belly. All I really need is a song in my heart, and love in my family. And I need the rain to
I may end up using different microphones. I'm not sure. I didn't have any pockets, so I couldn't wear the little ear thing that you have to put in your pocket. When I was asked to give a sermon, I had to come up with a topic. Since the church has been going through such big changes with a departing minister and the usual financial woes, transformation seemed like a relevant topic. I was totally unaware that it had also been changed at the uppest levels of the Unitarian Church. And I know that many of you have formed small groups using the Soul Matters material. I'm sure that's been helpful, and I read Soul Matters. It made me realize that deep down, I thought of transportation. I shouldn't have put these glasses on. I thought of transformation as being permanent. Once transformed, there's no return to the old ways of thinking or doing. Then I realized, of course, that the only transformation that fits that permanent scenario is metamorphosis. The butterfly absolutely cannot return to being a caterpillar. Humans have only one permanent change that fits that bill, and it's the physical transformation from being alive to being dead. Transformation for living people is always changing, ongoing process, with backsliding is part of the experience. People tend to think if only and what if thoughts. If only I could lose 40 pounds, people would notice me. I'd have a whole new life. I'd be transformed. What if I got a college education? Everything in life would improve. If only I could find the right person and get married. What if I divorced this one? I'd be a lot happier alone. If only I were wealthy, then I could afford plastic surgery to fix my nose, my chin, my boobs, whatever, and then life would be wonderful. Ah, if only. We live in a real world where change is constant. Any transformation I might go through is nothing more than the continual process of change. If I do nothing at all, things will still change. If I try hard to change my body or my situation, well, I might be more successful, or it might be more stressful. There is no guarantee. As a teenager, I had a sudden realization about religion versus reality. The existence of God and the history of the world as described in the Bible. In retrospect, it was probably a flash of insight based on all the reading that I had done about other religions. It became clear back then, reality does what it does. It always has. I concluded there is no master in control, and certainly no entity that randomly punishes or rewards me. It took months to sift through my 16 years of religious education, challenging each idea along the way. Is a virgin birth even possible? How did that work? Deeper questions emerged like, why do awful things happen to kind and generous people while vile people get away with murder? Why would a loving God stand by while drought withers crops and millions of people starve to death? I had been taught to pray, but in light of this realization, I had to ask, who had I been praying to? What would happen if I didn't pray? So I quit. What happened in the next 55 years? Nothing. People and animals that I loved continued to get sick or hurt. When I was a child, I prayed for God to save them. Sometimes they got better, and sometimes they died. A process of life is no different when I stopped praying. As far as I can tell, beliefs and prayer have no effect on the real world. But prayer did give me something important. I continued to talk out loud as if praying, with the realization that I was talking to myself. Hearing the words made my thoughts sound like they weren't coming from me. I heard the words as if I were one of my own friends listening. The hard situations that I used to push aside because they created sad, lonely, or desperate feelings became less personal and therefore easier to look at and to analyze. I began to see in every moment of life as it unfolds in front of me, I was playing a role. Often a path would appear, giving me a choice of what role I wanted to play. Sometimes talking out loud, I rant and rave. I imagine telling someone exactly what I'm going to say the next time they make me mad. But that can be awfully embarrassing when strangers overhear me and they look like they're about to call the paramedics. A famous Buddhist teacher named Pema Chodron said, "Let difficulty transform you, and it will. We just need help in learning how not to run away." So many of you, and there's a lot of new faces here, I must say, from 2000. Many of you were here in May of 2000 when the Cerro Grande fire roared over our mountains and burned 400 homes. Some of us in this church lost everything that we owned. The whole town lost its beautiful tree-covered mountains. And a deeply saddened congregation came together to support the victims with physical and emotional support. I was one of those people. But I had only attended a few Sundays, and nobody knew me until I was introduced as a fire victim. My devastating loss, which does qualify as a difficulty, was absolutely transformed by this congregation. I had never experienced community like that before, never been gathered up in a genuine sense of belonging, and to this day, that has not diminished. I spent weeks grieving all the possessions once owned by my family. I felt like I lost those people all over again. I still had memories of them. But I didn't have the stuff. It helped, too, when my friend Laura staggered out of her house with an enormous box, saying in her southern accent, "Here's a box of stuff. It's un-American to be without stuff." She also pointed out to me that everything I had lost that meant so much to me would be meaningless to my descendants. In 100 years, most of it wouldn't even exist. With that perspective, I was able to let go of stuff and move on. But I let go of more than just stuff. I had lived through a disaster. I could live through anything. I had nothing but the money I already had in the bank. After financial losses were reimbursed, I had even more money. No stuff, just money. It felt amazingly free, but I couldn't just fly away and start a whole new life. I had a job, I had a kid in school, I needed a place to live and furniture. but I had a transformed outlook, and that stayed with me. I was free to create a living situation that was entirely my own choosing. Furniture that fit short people like me. Dishes that brought me joy. Can you imagine dishes bringing you? Yeah. And I bought artwork from people I knew, artists in this church, other people. It was great. And most importantly, I bought expensive hiking boots that wouldn't cause blisters. The truth is, I'd always been free. The river of life continued flowing, so what had always stopped me from plunging into the middle of it? Fear. Fear that I would make horrible mistakes. Mostly, it was fear of jumping into new situations that I might not be able to handle, that would scare me, that might prove me to be incompetent. What I really feared were my own emotions. Knowing I was free, I could let go of fear. I could take risks. What could I possibly do that would lead to this much loss again? I handled this much, and I could probably handle a lot more because I was no longer afraid of how I would feel if it were to happen. Like Children says, let difficulty transform you by not running away. When you think in terms of if only or what if, you are absolutely running away from the very difficulty that is driving you to wish things were different. When we simply sit and wish, daydream, or fantasize, we are living in our heads and our emotions, not in the real world. Reality has never been affected by our thoughts and desires. If that were true, a whole lot of politicians would be dead now. There are, of course, stories of people being transformed in a flash, like Paul's conversion experience on the road to Damascus. A few Buddhists have reported instantaneous enlightenment, but this is not the norm. The Buddha himself went through years of meditation training with the best teachers of his time, isolation and self-imposed starvation before he finally became enlightened. Simply being dissatisfied is often sufficient. The Buddha started his journey because he was dissatisfied with the wealthy life he was born into. When he discovered how much human suffering had been shielded from him, he left to find a cure for suffering. What he discovered and taught for the rest of his life was a fairly simple concept that can seem impossible to put into practice. In a nutshell, it's this: we're born, we grow, we age, and we die. Suffering is caused by our attachment. In that span of life, however long or short it might be, pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. Suffering is caused by our attachment and is relieved only by seeing the reality of it, which allows us to see that it's never personal. Reality is not doing something to us on purpose. If we think so, it's because we have told ourselves stories. When the fire took everything, I had no choice but to see the reality that everything I owned was gone. Sure, I could replace the trappings of modern life, but not the oil painting of me at 2 years old, or the rose perfume jar my grandmother used that still smelled like roses, nor the dozens of other things with big ancestral stories that went back generations. None of these objects would mean a thing to someone who is not attached to them by the stories. Go to any antique store and you will find beautiful portraits of people with no names, dates, or places written on the back. With no stories, they are simply objects from a bygone era. What has been most difficult for me personally is to realize that people are objects too. That's a rather cold way to look at us, though, isn't it? When you read an obituary of someone you know, you have feelings. If you don't know them, they're just another human in the world who's now gone. We are accustomed to knowing that death happens around us all the time. We feel pain when we are attached to people, and prolonged pain leads to suffering. We can stop suffering when we detach ourselves from the idea that they are causing the pain. If only they were here, I wouldn't be so miserable. That's a story. It is important to feel the pain, to move through grief, to not run away, to reach the point where you can enjoy the memories of the person you loved. Telling yourself that someone's absence is causing your pain implies that the pain will never go away until they come back. When we work to see reality clearly, we recognize these stories. The blaming, the wishing, all the ways that we run away from facing reality. There are techniques to achieve this. My talking out loud is one method, slightly crazy, not highly recommended, but there's also meditation, prayer, writing down our thoughts. A good psychotherapist can help. Self-help books and having an empathetic friend who listens. Whatever way we find that allows us to stop living in the stories will lead to long-lasting transformation. That doesn't mean we'll never suffer again. It means we will spend far less time suffering. So may we all be transformed. And I want to thank you for having me back again. It means so much to me.
There we go. I know there's a hum. As we prepare to return to our daily lives, let us give a part of what we have for others. This month's recipient for the offertory is the Transgender Resource Center of New Mexico. May what you give bring your joy and a greater and deeper connection to our community. Thank you. Before we finish today's service, there are some announcements. Announcements and events can be found on the back of your order of service. The ones that I will call out today, coffee helpers are needed, so please speak with Barb or Jeff Franzak, I believe, is the correct folks to talk to for becoming a coffee helper. The Women's Circle tonight at 7 p.m. We need volunteers for some things. The UUA concert booth at the Friday night concerts need volunteers. We're hoping to host our first booth for the summer on July 12th. If you wish, there's a sign up in the fellowship hall. Please put your contact information next to your name, and I will get in touch with you, or speak with me and give me your contact information. I will get in touch with you. Also, the Memorial Garden needs engineering assistance. If you have experience with engineering, please speak to Kokyong. And finally, the first Friday dinner on July 5th at China Palace. Thank you very much. All right. Please rise in body and spirit and join in our closing hymn, number 344, A Promise Through the Ages Rings.
May all be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May all never be separated from the sacred happiness which is sorrowless. May all live in equanimity, without too much attachment or too much aversion, and live believing in the equality of all that lives.